So I'm back again to talk about American domestic politics. What I want to say, though, bring up about another interview I saw recently with, of all people, Hillary Clinton, which I found interesting. She talked about how, again, she's no longer in the political circle anymore. She's just doing her own thing. So isn't it funny how these people are no longer taped to a political system, that suddenly they're honest about the things we saw years prior? Like, I love the Johnny come late crap, right? Yeah, I love how they finally acknowledge in some areas they were wrong, and their political evolution suddenly appears when they're no longer taped to power and certain political forces, which, aka, welcome to the year of 2026 of politics, right? I mean, you also see it with Republicans breaking from Trump because they're no longer in office anymore. They see their parties going to a fascist cult abyss, to rotten rubble. You know, Obviously they're mad because their personal feelings were hurt because Trump turned on them, and he effectively ended their political careers. Well, you're seeing a similar thing happen on the Democratic side, not due to one person though. But what I find interesting is Hillary Clinton was acknowledging things we knew years ago. Okay, so we knew she was lying to our face every day when she was running for office and guarding for the old guard of the Democratic Party and the warmongers and all this shenanigans that we're tired of in our political system. Okay, she knew. And if you saw one of her recent interviews on the news, you would know that she's full of it. And now she's acknowledging reality because she's no longer taped to that political system. So, as a regular, independent human being, she put up her own objective opinions about politics, which I thought was interesting. And suddenly she's making logical sense. Amazing, when you're not taped to powerful forces beyond you, suddenly you're honest with the American public. But she said, which I thought was very telling, when they asked her about the war with Iran and Trump's disastrous decisions and all this stuff, it was terrible in foreign policy entanglements here. But she admitted, so she basically told on Marco Rubio, of all people, because remember, she was also Secretary of State, just like Marco Rubio is right now, back in the 2008, 2009, and 10 era. Okay. So she said Bibi Netanyahu approached her about going to war with Iran. Israel's been wanting to do this for years. Okay. Now, I want to remind you, this is Hillary Clinton we're talking about. One of the most pro war Democrats out there. Okay. Who was literally giving allegiances to people like Henry Kissinger and Donald Rumsfeld. Terrible, terrible foreign policy war criminals. Okay. We're talking about Hillary Clinton here. I just want to bring this to your attention. The most pro Israel Democrat, most pro Zionist, pro war politician on the Democratic side. Even she acknowledged the ignorance in foreign policy with the GOP. Because despite how flawed she is in so many areas, especially when it comes to foreign policy, she's still a little bit more intelligent than the Republican Party when it comes to war and peace and all this stuff, foreign policy issues. Okay, and she certainly is more intelligent on foreign policy than Marco Rubio. All right, I'm just going to put that out right out to the public and air that out right now. But here's the thing: she's telling on Marco Rubio, who I also want to remind people plans on running for president in 2028. I just want to remind people of this. Netanyahu approached her first. It wasn't just Obama. Netanyahu approached Hillary Clinton, who I want to remind you had a lot of disagreements with Obama on foreign policy, because Hillary Clinton was more pro war than Obama. Okay? Even she told Netanyahu, Bibi, to take a hike. We're not going to war with Iran, because she knew what was at stake. Okay? So he had the weapons ready to go to Iran. And Hillary Clinton, he approached Hillary Clinton. He said, hey, let's go do this now. And Hillary Clinton said, good luck with that, Bibi. You're on your own. I'm not going to ask the president to go to war with Iran. So most most American leaders, along with Obama and Clinton, but even the Bushes were approached by Bibi at one point. They told him the very same thing because they knew what was at stake if they went to war with Iran. Trump was the first klutz in the White House to take orders from Bibi like it was nothing. Oh yeah, bomb Iran? Okay, Bibi, let's do that. That's exactly what Trump did because Bibi Netanyahu told him to do it. But guess who gave him the green light to do it? Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. So, yeah, she told an untold truth right there in that interview. And she also said, because despite what you think of Hillary Clinton, she's a very intelligent woman. She knows a lot about politics. She knows what goes on inside that political circle. Okay, and if it's coming from her mouth, especially her of all people, it's pretty telling. It's pretty telling, you guys. I mean, she's the ultimate political insider. So she also said in the interview, which I was waiting for more Democrats to finally say, that she believed if the Democratic Party had a vibrant primary and a more engaged electorate and a more excited voter base of choices for voters to vote for, that she thought the Democratic Party would have won in 2024, considering who they were running against. And I actually believe that, because I think the Democrats would have won in 2024 if they run a better playbook. Even Hillary Clinton, who I want to remind you lost to Trump in 2016, okay, finally acknowledged where she fell short in her campaign for president. Okay. Of course, 10 years later, because again, I think it took enough public uprising and enough political losses for the Democrats to finally realize maybe we should listen to the voters for a change. You know, what a novel concept. But she said the day Biden ran for his first term for president and got elected, he said he was going to pass the torch to a new generation. And she reminded people that Biden made that promise and didn't keep it. He decided to run for re-election despite what was at stake. But she acknowledged Joe Biden couldn't make re-election. And she said because Biden didn't step aside and allow the voters to choose a candidate for president, whether it was Kamala Harris or another Democrat, this is what she literally said out loud. She said, because Biden's hubrisness gave us Donald Trump for a second term. Hillary Clinton said that out loud. Now, obviously, that did not make the Bidens happy, because when she went to the Obama event, she was there standing and cheering with her husband, Bill, and Biden walked out, him and his wife, and they walked right the frick past her and didn't even look her direction. You could tell they were mad because Hillary Clinton came out and said this out loud. And in their way, they felt like she embarrassed Joe Biden and his legacy. But the truth is, and maybe a lot of people will think that, I don't know, because, again, she didn't beat Trump herself. So, I mean, she ran a very hubris campaign herself. So I'm not sitting here praising Hillary Clinton all that much. Just a couple things that she finally acknowledged, and it's about time that even people like her are realizing her stubbornness got in everybody else's way. Okay, and that she doesn't know everything all the time, and she doesn't have the answers to everything. Okay, now again, she did praise praise Trump for the disgusting fake peace deal that he made with Gaza and Israel, which is not true at all. There was no peace deal there. So again, she's not completely there, but I'm just glad she's acknowledging where foreign policy could be flawed in American politics, and the fact that political insiders don't always have all the answers. And of all people to acknowledge it, I'm just glad it's, of all people, Hillary Clinton, which I find funny and laughable, but enlightening at the same time. All right, y'all. That's all I want to say in this other video. I'll see y'all later. Have a great day. Have a great night. Love y'all. Goodbye.